So, whether you realize it or not, humans have two parts to them. We have our mind and we have our spirit, essentially. So, I think everyone falls into the trap of thinking that their mind controls everything. I mean, if you actually think about it, we think all the time, which is funny to say. But we think constantly. Our brains are constantly running. And the point of our brain, or in another word, our mind, is to help us survive, to help us figure our way through things. And a part of that is our ego. And our ego is constantly looking to feel threatened. It is always trying to survive something. And because of that, we are constantly under siege in some way. But this is all a creation of the mind. It is not, oftentimes, it is not reality. So if you really actively try to not be what your mind says you are, if you approach situations differently and if you bring a better attitude and not look at every single little thing as a big problem in your life, you will see a lot more happiness. And these are concepts that come from the Enlightenment kind of movement where people are looking to overcome their mind and get more in touch with their conscious self, which is basically the non thinking self, and essentially the part of us that just lives in the present moment. Our brain is constantly looking to the past or looking to the future to try to kind of figure out who we are and where we're going. But really, the most important thing for us to do is just live in the present moment and stay exactly where we are because this is the only point where we can actually take action and make any sort of impact on our lives. So, this kind of lays the foundation for flow, which is what I want to talk about. So I didn't really know much about flow until I started reading more up on this enlightenment type of stuff, which is really just more spirituality and getting in touch with, who you truly are. And flow is something that we get into and sometimes may not even realize it. So we have two states we can be in. We can either be in flow or we can be in fear. And fear is where we're living behind what our mind tells us. We are scared of things, we are looking to protect ourselves, we're acting in a defensive way. And this is the survival, the way that the ego tries to survive is we're always in a survival mindset and it's more surviving versus thriving. And surviving is where the mind comes in. And sometimes you do need that, but most of the time when you are truly in a situation that you need to protect yourself, your inner being is going to know how to react. And if you don't like inner being, if you think that's too kind of out there, just think of your body. You know, everyone has those gut feelings about things where they think they have a good gut feeling or a bad gut feeling. And a lot of times, especially if they have a bad gut feeling but they want to do something, they will think using the mind and they will go into that situation and their gut ended up being right where it was a bad situation. But we don't like to listen to our bodies, we like to listen to our mind. Because the mind is this big, powerful tool that helps us do so many great things, which in some ways is true. But if you get into a flow state, you will understand just how powerful your true body or inner being really is. So as a writer, I get into flow very often, and lately, now that I understand what flow is, I have really realized it. So I write a lot. I'm writing a book right now. I write articles almost every day. And there will be days where I write 1,500 to 2,000 words in less than an hour. And I just don't think about time at all. So time is another mind construct where, time is necessary, but we frame everything in our life based on time. And when you're in this state of flow and you're in the state of being in the present moment, time is just not even a thing. You get into the state where you are solely focused on your task and you just go at it, and there's nothing that can get to you and get in your way. So when I'm writing, I mean, I will literally write thousands of words in a short amount of time, and I will like look up from my computer like I was just kind of reborn almost. It's like you come out of it and you snap out of it and you're like, wow, like I really just did all that and there was almost nothing on my mind. I mean, it's crazy to say that you can write thousands of words and not think, but you are literally going off of instinct almost, where these words are just flowing out of you without a single thought. I mean, you may take a second or two to think, okay, do I want to use this word or that word? Do I want to delete this half a sentence and put a new thing there? It just comes out of you without really analyzing anything, and it just proves what is truly inside you, that you have so much inside of you that people don't access because they're constantly thinking. And when you're thinking, you're blocking what really you are, and you're just listening to your ego constantly, and you're making decisions based on your ego. Like right now, for example, I don't have a script at all. I am just speaking, and like you see, I'm talking very quickly. I'm coming up with these ideas very quickly. I'm not thinking at all. This is all coming from inside me. This is all essentially instinct that I've built up and knowledge that I'm just tapping into. And this is what happens with my writing too. And for you, it could be art. You could be an artist in some way. You could be a drawer, a painter. You could be a filmmaker. Where and you may understand this. I think it's easier to apply with the creative stuff like writing and art. But I'm sure there's other ways, like sports. I just was listening to a TED Talk about this tennis player where he was in flow and he was up 6-love, I think he said, which is where like you just need one more point to win the match, set, or whatever it's called. And as soon as he got to that point, and he got to this point by being in flow, where he was just going. He was going with with the moment. He was not thinking at all. He was just in the present moment, and he was letting his body take over. And he got to a point where he started going like, wow, I'm 6-0 or 6-love. He started analyzing it. He started thinking, wow, I can't fail now. I can't disappoint all these people. And this is the ego. This is the ego kicking in and saying, I can't die here. I have to survive this situation. I can't lose. You start getting defensive. Instead of thinking of winning and accomplishing this feat, you go into a defensive state like, I can't lose. And any sports fan knows that if you get defensive and go into the I can't lose mindset, you're going to lose, because you're going to overthink things. You're going to get tense. You are going to make mistakes. And the tenseness is a big thing. It could come in real physicality like sports where your muscles are actually tightening up, or it could come from your brain or your body. Just you need to be loose. You need to have, for there to be flow, you need to be loose. Think of water with flow. So water constantly moves no matter what's in its way, unless there's a dam, of course. But there's rocks that always get in the way. There's waterfalls. The water keeps going. It never stops no matter what's in the way. It doesn't think, oh shoot, that rock's there, I have to stop. And obviously water can't actually think. But that's the beauty of water, is that it can't think. And I'm very envious of water for not having that problem. But water doesn't stop. It doesn't let its circumstances get in its way. It continues to flow, and it gets exactly where it needs to go. And it may not want to go there, but it's going to get there anyway, because that's how life is. Life is a natural flow. And you have to just be in the moment and go with that flow, and you're going to get the best results. So this tennis player, he ends up losing the set because he was in a defensive state. He goes off, he kind of sits there for a while, and he's like, wow, I shouldn't have lost that match. I was doing great. And he realized once he started thinking, that's where it all went wrong. So he went back out there, he was loose again, he was in flow, and he ended up winning. And this is an example, and not everyone has these moments where you can track your accomplishments based on actual wins and losses, but you know, you kind of figure out where you're winning in life and what matters to you and what accomplishments are important to you. And when you get into the state of flow where you block your mind completely and just let your body do the talking, essentially, let your body do the work, you will achieve amazing things. And again, this video is an example. If you truly analyze, and of course you're not inside of me, so you don't understand what's happening or not, but I don't have time to think. I'm talking constantly. I don't have time to think. This is just me tapping into my inner being, to my body, and letting that do the talking. And it's the same thing with my writing. I just go, and I started writing my book on November 22nd. It's December 8th now, so about 2 weeks later, I have almost 12,000 words written, and I haven't really written in a couple days. So really, in about 2 weeks, I got 12,000 words done, and it really didn't take me a lot of time. Like, you may think 12,000 words in 2 weeks is not that impressive. It's less than 1,000 words a day, but a lot of this writing was in an hour or two most a day. I mean, there was moments again where I would write, between 1,000 and 2,000 words in less than an hour, and that was all I did for the day. So this is what flow can do for you. And everyone has something inside of them where, they can get into a state of flow because that's who you truly are. And, it may take you time to figure out what exactly that is, but everyone has this ability to tap into themselves, to block their mind, to block their ego, and instead of looking to survive, looking to thrive.